Hello and welcome. My name is Brian Caplen, editor of The Banker. I'm with James King, who's the Middle East and African editor, and we're reviewing the Banker's top Islamic institutions for 2015. So the new rankings just come out, James, and what have been the key findings this year?
Well, this is the first time in 9 editions that we've seen total assets of the industry fall. They fell by about 8.4% this year, compared to 9% growth in the 2014 rankings and double-digit growth in the years before that.
Okay, so give us some of the reasons why we've had that fall this year.
Well, there are 2 big reasons for the fall. The first reason is that the Iranian rial has devalued by about half against the US dollar, so that's really hit the contribution of Iran's lenders to the report this year. And the second reason is basically just we're seeing a very gradual sort of incremental sort of moderation of growth from the Islamic finance sector globally as it converges sort of gradually with their conventional peers. This is taking place now, and we're beginning to see this sort of kick in essentially to our data and our rankings.
Okay, so we've seen a more moderate situation in the Islamic finance market as a whole, but there are some exciting new markets, aren't they, to explore? So tell us a little bit about those.
That's right. So we're seeing that the key markets of Malaysia and the GCC become much more competitive, much more saturated. We're seeing these lenders sort of take an eye and push further into newer high-growth markets like Indonesia and markets across East and West Africa. Indonesia, for example, has banking sector penetration of about 30%. And Islamic...
That's overall, conventional.
Overall,
yeah.
exactly, overall, including conventional. And Islamic finance lenders make up about 5% of the total system-wide assets of the country. So there's huge room for growth there in Indonesia. And the regulator is pushing hard to promote the industry as well, which is very encouraging.
Now, tell us a little bit about regulation. Obviously, you know, the big topic of banking generally for so many years now has been regulation. But what about in the Islamic sector?
What we're seeing broadly across the industry is that we're seeing a number of markets following Malaysia's lead. So in Malaysia, there's a single sort of higher Sharia authority, a centralized Sharia board, which oversees the industry sort of regulation and so on. Whereas in the Gulf and other markets, it's much more of a case-by-case, bank-by-bank basis with individual Sharia boards. But we're seeing Oman and now Bahrain and the UAE move towards a centralized system, and I think that's going to take a sort of route, essentially, across the world as a much more effective way of overseeing the industry's growth.
Okay, thanks, James. Well, there we have the latest trends in the Islamic banking sector, and for readers of The Banker, can get the Islamic Bank Special Report in the November issue of The Banker, or you can go online to islamicbank.thebanker.com.